Greetings everyone. I'm leaving for Rishikesh again in about 15 minutes or so. This is the first trip that I'm taking after the lockdown. And I'm trying to keep this as personal as possible. Most people keep asking me a lot of personal questions. What do I do for work and things like that, really. Or where did I get this perspective from? And I'm thinking of keeping this one very, very personal. Actually, the most candid that I've ever been. Um, I'm also going with a very different perspective this time. I've had a strange past, like all of us have had a very strange few months in the past, and in the last 10 days or so, um, I've had something of a eureka moment, like something just snapped. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna keep this very, very personal. I'm gonna give you an insight into my life, and less on the traveler aspect of me, and more me on a personal front. And I hope you guys enjoy it. So I'm just having my cup of coffee and I'm scooting. I haven't slept in a while, and my room, as you can tell, is a mess because there's whitewash going on, so I haven't set up the stuff. I will come back and set everything up. But yeah, I am uh, really sorted after a very long time. Very, very clear-headed. The clarity that I have, very, very lucid. There's a certain sense of finesse in the kind of thoughts that I have and the kind of things that I'm doing as well. There's a significant amount of finesse. I'm hoping that there'll be a consistency in uploading videos as well now, considering that I have been actively avoiding this for a while. So yeah, tag along. Oh, yes, another thing before I am going with a person that I barely know. One of my subscribers, actually. His name is Yashashvi. I generally just posted on my Instagram stories if anyone wants to join me for this trip. And quite a few people responded, but he's the only one who stuck around till the end. Most people generally just, vanished after the plans were made, like always. So yeah, tag along. Let's see how this one goes. Didn't think I would be shooting again before I left, but the driver cancelled. And in different circumstances, I would have been extremely pissed by now. Very volatile that ways, or can be sometimes. But I'm in a strangely, extremely calm state of mind, which I'm particularly enjoying. I thought I might as well vlog it and tell people um, that for some reason I'm taking it all very, very lightly these days. I'm not over analyzing. I mean, of course, I'm over analyzing everything. But generally, there's a sense of permeating contentment, which I haven't experienced in a very, very long time. So yeah. Chalo ji, bye bye. Chalo ji. Alright, so after multiple cabs being cancelled, finally we are on our way to Rishikesh. I'm going with this guy.
Hello,
Yashashvi.
Ram Ram.
And and yeah, so it's obviously it's pretty dark right now, so all that you would see is the darkness speaking to you. So stare into the abyss, my friend, stare into the abyss a little while longer. And yeah, let's see. The plan is that we would be going to Shivpuri and staying and camping for a little while. Now, उसके बाद क्या बनता है क्या नहीं बनता, let's see. And as I said, the strangest part about, not the strangest, but the coolest part about this night is that it's one of the most beautiful moons I've ever seen in my life. And it's Halloween. So booyah.
Both men will stare. I am stared at because I have long locks. People stare. Indians in general stare a lot.
But I hate that video.
Also,
Why did I even
staring is what I'm...
Just a short update. I forgot my mic at home, so I'm not really sure how much this is gonna work, but we'll have to bear with it. And no mic, and I was carrying my guitar as well for recording a few things, but sadly I don't. I'll have to make do with my cell phone, and you'll have to make do with this. Alright, greetings again. We had been traveling for almost more than 12 hours, and Rishikesh is not really that far from Delhi. So I'll give you a backstory of what happened. We had booked a place in Shivpuri, a campsite, and once we reached there, it was a little off-road, a little too off-road, and in any other frame of mind, that sort of spirit of adventure would have been extremely thrilling. But अभी लॉकडाउन के बाद आया थोड़ा सा relax करने के लिए. Anyway, so we went to the campsite, and the owner of the campsite was leaving for a trek to Kedarnath. So the campsite would have been relatively vacant, with just 2 people staying over there, and understaffed. So that would have been a concern as well. कहीं जाना है, कुछ करना है, कुछ खाना पीना, कुछ भी हो, less people over there, which is not really something that should desist, something that a person should not actively look forward to. It's an extremely enthralling experience. But वही है, if the owners are not there, फिर वो कितने काम वाले लोग हैं, कितने नहीं, और वो इतना अंदर जाके था कि वहाँ से फिर बाहर निकल के ऋषिकेश आना is a big headache if you don't have a vehicle of your own, and especially if you're traveling on a budget. The taxi drivers are going to fleece you of your money like there's no tomorrow, especially during these times when everyone is sort of dying of improvised hunger, because most of us have lost a lot of money in the recent past. So we went there, and it was around 12 by the time we reached. We started at 4:30 in the morning. It was around 12 when we reached Shivpuri, and then from Shivpuri we had to come back to Rishikesh. We came back to Rishikesh because obviously there was no other place. Other than that, Shivpuri would have been a problem regardless of which campsite we stayed in, if you don't have a vehicle of your own. Now we are here. Now we are in a place where I always stay. It's called the Shiv Shakti. It's a tongue twister. Shiv Shakti hostel in Rishikesh. Beautiful little place. A lot of dormitories and a lot of rooms. We've taken a room, and so we entered, and we sat for a while, waited for the rooms to be cleaned, and then there was this mural of Shiva, and I sort of sketched it out, which the staff really found fascinating. And then they saw the guitar, so they're like, आज शाम को तो माहौल बन जाएगा ऊपर है, आर्ट वार्ट और म्यूजिक हाँ ऐसी आर्ट वार्ट म्यूजिक करेंगे, करने का तो कुछ मन नहीं है. I'm gonna just sleep because I'm exhausted. Rishikesh is not that far, as I said, 5 hours journey, and it took us more than 10 hours, so it's tiring now, almost close to 10 hours. So it's exhausting, and you just want to crash and go off to sleep. What was the other thing? We came to the mountains after a very long time. There's a sense of familiarity that breathes over here. The way the river, the white noise of the river, it can sing you a lullaby to sleep. The imposing presence of primordial giants, these rock cut, conical, pyramidical giants, the mountains, and beautiful, beautiful, imposing presence. Um, Philosophically, I was talking to Yashashvi as well about this thing. I have a severe aversion to tall buildings, especially imposing tall buildings, postmodernist architecture generally. I have this very repulsive, sort of uneasy feeling that I get from it. It's not the same with mountains. With mountains, it's more awe-inspiring, I guess, because of the abstract nature of it. This is conical, sometimes it's pyramidical, sometimes it's conical, sometimes it's a curve or a mound or something or the other. This is constantly evolving, constantly evolving shapes. With buildings, this is giant blocks, and they make you feel this strange existential dread. But the mountains can fill you with awe while filling you with the same existential dread. This makes you feel more like you're a part of something bigger, and the buildings make you feel like you're subordinate to something. There's an intelligent design that goes into a building, like the architect who creates it. You almost, in some way, looking up to this art form. It is an art form. Architecture is an art form. You're looking up to this art form, almost this megalithic, imposing presence that tells you, that reminds you that not only are you small, but you're also inconsequential. The mountains make you feel tranquil. That's the closest word there is to it. And it's just a matter of feeling, really. You could feel the same thing for a mountain or a building as opposed to what I do. But anyway, that was a nice little discussion that we had. And also, I wanted to make a short video or something of it. But if you travel on the highway, especially if you're going, crossing UP and places like that, you would notice quite often there will be this land, this empty landscape. There's just the road, the highway, and then left and right there's literally nothing, just farmland. Then in the middle of a farmland there'll be a hospital somewhere, and nothing as far as the eye can see. It's got a very eerie, very surreal feeling. It's almost like a dream-like, liminal spaces. Yashashvi bol raha tha. So yeah, I mean, if you haven't read up on liminal spaces and weird core and nostalgia core and trauma core, there are some keywords you want to type and experiment and see if you also get that unnerving feeling from a vacancy and something standing in that vacancy. And it really applies to anything. Even a scarecrow standing in the middle of a field has a very strange, eerie feeling. A sole owner in vacancy. Yeah, corners as well. Yeah. Corridors, another one. Fucking always creepy. Yeah, corridors are another. So they're
mostly, in my opinion, like dark auditoriums with not a single light source, just an open door in front of you.
Yeah. The twilight at the end of the fucking
exactly.
Empty schools also give me a very creepy, unnerving feeling.
Like the school auditoriums you see, or
the echo, हल्की सी आवाज भी होती है ढक से.
Projection room, the loud echo of the auditorium, because it is surrounded by mostly granite or tiles, or it creates a reverb.
It does. Very true. It does create a reverb.
And even if you cannot hear the reverb, you can just see the reverb. It is something like that. You just have to experience it.
It's something you feel. Something you feel, like the back of your head or in your spine.
But there is also a feeling of familiarity. It is something like तुम वहाँ पर नहीं हो, लेकिन वहाँ पर पहले गए भी हो.
हाँ. Trauma core is a subject that a lot of people should really invest their time in. I'll give you a mota idea of what trauma core is.
Sorry for interrupting.
Please.
Mostly see it is like you have mostly been there in a childhood dream, or mostly in childhood memories, like a
forgotten memory.
Yeah, exactly. A small glimpse of that time cap.
It's an art form, and this art form tries to replicate. So you'll see a lot of oversaturated colors sometimes. You would see empty playgrounds and things like that. So the highway, on the side of the highway, it has a very similar feeling to that weird core, that trauma core sort of a thing. So very, very fascinating, really. A nice little topic to meddle with and obsess over every now and then forget about it. Contrary to what people might believe, we're not really high, we're just talking about some random topics, and that's how conversations really lead to the other, and that's how you make breakthroughs. Now, Yashashvi is also an artist, by the way, so we're thinking of, I'll show you some of his art in a little while if he allows. And
thank you for giving me a shout out.
Please, Yashashvi makes a lot of Lovecraftian inspired artworks. Good, very good artworks, really. Very clean lines. Yeah, so that's a long ramble for a little I'm so tired I want to sleep topic. I'll see you in a little while once I'm well rested and my eyes don't look like the devil inhabits in them.
Because it always does.
Not always, sometimes. So yeah, I hope you're all having a good day. Oh yeah, one more thing. The world is locking down again. Some countries are going to a third or a fourth lockdown, and being in Rishikesh at this time, I hope it doesn't happen because we are in unlock 6 right now. So I hope that doesn't happen. I don't want to be, the last thing I want to be is stranded over here with my parents over there and my dogs over there, and the same applies for Yashashvi as well. So
I love my cat here.
Yeah, gotta go back home. Very important to return home. Travel everywhere, go everywhere, but return. Don't get lost. Alright, I'll see you in a little while. Alright, so I was gonna go off to sleep, but I was talking to Yashashvi generally, and let me just lay back. So I was talking to Yashashvi generally, and this topic is very in trend right now, and it's a recurrent topic. And if you're going to Rishikesh, if you're a person like me, long beard, long hair, going to Rishikesh, there is a certain stigma associated with it that people are going to go for substance abuse, for marijuana. Let me be a little more upfront about it. First of all, I don't think that people need to go to Rishikesh or any other place to have it. I think it's the illegal market is readily available everywhere, and there's no city in India where you cannot get it if you want it. That's number one. Number two, is the substance really that is it worthy of the kind of demonization that it gets? Now, as you all know, I've never really supported the use of it, nor have I advocated for it, and nor do I myself particularly use it. But from anecdotal evidence, I can say that I can explain to a person, I guess, in some form of eloquence, that the substance itself is the effect it has on you. It's like most other psychoactive substances. For example, coffee. Coffee is a profoundly fascinating substance, caffeine, the active molecule, the active compound, which has stimulating properties. So in high doses, of course, it produces wakefulness. But it's something that is not really spoken about much because it's not seen as anything of a drug, even though it's the most fashionably, the most popularly consumed psychoactive substance in the world, coffee. But this particular thing has a stigma associated with it. I mean, alcohol for that matter as well, in very high doses, can be profoundly psychoactive. I mean, it is psychoactive even in lower doses. The disinhibition that you feel is a psychoactive effect of alcohol. Of course, not frowned upon at all. But this substance, even though, as I said, I don't use it particularly, nor do I advocate its use, you can't shake away or deny the fact that it has profoundly tremendous medicinal qualities. Study after study has proven that. So you can't deny that. So there's one thing that at least you have less to be scared about, that it's not going to harm you any more than most other substances that you're already putting in your body. Now, number two, the outcome of the usage of the substance. The outcome of using alcohol is disinhibition. So promiscuous behavior, violence, things like that. It's one of the most dangerous psychoactive substances in the world, I think. Similarly, caffeine just produces wakefulness and a slight sense of euphoria, or some form of yeah, euphoria would be the closest word to it actually. Now, what does marijuana do? Marijuana, from again anecdotal evidence, is a profoundly sensual experience. I think it is, by sensual I obviously don't mean it in the way that most people would picture it. It's not. I'm not talking about sexual experience. It's a very sensual. It's a sensory experience. Now, I think Graham Hancock or someone else has also addressed this topic before, but allow me to elucidate you a little more on this. There is a certain degree of magnification of thoughts that happens when people use it. That's why it's used by a lot of people for creative endeavors. There's a magnification of how far you can take your thoughts. There's a perceptual shortage of time. You can notice that time is slower in the psychoactive state of mind. The time dilation can be extremely productive for people who want to get done with deadlines really fast, because perceptually the time is slow and they can, in theory, work a little faster. That's of course one aspect of it. The feelings of touch, taste and smell is enhanced. That's why you get things like the munchies. That's why you have people who really crave food and looking at things and listening to music. So this deeply sensual experience, the experience of the senses, the magnification of the senses. As such, I think it's an extremely personal experience, as opposed to alcohol, which is more of a social experience, wherein, I mean, of course, there are plenty of people who drink alcohol alone, but generally it's a social thing, it's a social construct. You drink socially. So there's a sort of groupthink attached to alcohol, I think. And this seems to be profoundly more isolated sense of self, a sort of a state wherein you're more introspective, wherein you are more unknotted, would be the word I would use, unknotted. So yeah, that's some of my musings on marijuana. Rishikesh is of course known for the hippie crowd, and that's why I think a lot of people associate and think that I perhaps go to Rishikesh to do that, but you don't, after a point of time, you don't really, after a point of, some people don't ever need it really, the substance itself. And even the ones who do need it don't need to come to a place like Rishikesh. They can get it anywhere. Why do they have to come to Rishikesh? So yeah, that's the elephant in the room. I think that needed to be addressed.